Good day, it's July 21st, 2025. The U.S. Supreme Court continued to side with Donald Trump on many of his emergency petitions to seek relief from the lower court in several of his executive orders, ignoring federal district court judges who issued injunctions based on constitutional grounds and had come the guardrail against presidential abuse of power. But the High Court, with conservative majority, keeps handing the president the win. I'm Sam Buban. Welcome to the polls.
And I'm Joe Buban. Welcome to this week's edition.
This week alone, the majority handed Trump the win to dismantle further the U.S. Department of Education. However, the unsigned decision that has been coming out from the High Court is missing an explanation. The decision mostly come in the form of a one-page decision without legal explanations, in contrast to the multiple pages of arguments and citations from the dissenters in the liberal side that includes Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Decisions like this had been known to lawyers and observers of the court as a shadow docket. So, in the case filed against the administration by teachers and administrators of the Department of Education, the Supreme Court majority, all appointed by Republicans, two of whom by Trump, gave the president the go-ahead to fire about 1,400 staff at the Department of Education without explanation that any plaintiff would expect in a case being decided. In contrast, the dissenting opinion of Justice Sotomayor, which was joined by Justice Kagan and Justice Brown Jackson, was 19 pages of arguments and legal basis for the opposition.
Even just less than 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration's policy to deport criminal aliens to third countries not their own, like South Sudan and other third world countries. The administration is able to have an agreement. The ruling of the High Court lifted the injunction by federal Judge Brian Murphy of Boston, Massachusetts, limiting the ability of the Trump administration to deport illegal immigrants to South Sudan, where deportees have no connection to that country. After that Supreme Court decision, a memo obtained by the Washington Post, as reported by the Rolling Stone magazine, reveals that the acting director of ICE detailed plans to rapidly deport immigrants to places they have no prior ties, in as little as 6 hours' notice, to countries they have no citizenship or ties, without guarantee they will not be tortured or persecuted when they get there.
ICE agents who had been conducting raids and arrests as masked, militarized men without identification has become the norm, terrorizing communities all around the country. Critics has called them Trump's secret police. But California may soon exercise its state powers to ban the practice within the state. A bill has passed the state's legislature, dubbed as the No Secret Police Bill, and could soon be signed by Governor Gavin Newsom. If that becomes a law, it bans any law enforcement at all levels of government from conducting operations wearing masks and without identification.
The primary election for a congressional special election in Arizona for the congressional district left open by the death of longtime Democratic House of Representative Congressman Raul Grijalva was done last week. In the Democratic side, Adelita Grijalva came out as the winner in a crowded primary of 5 contenders. Grijalva is the daughter of the late Congressman Raul Grijalva and is currently a member of Pima County Board of Supervisors since January of 2021, the equivalent of the county commissioner in the state of Nevada. Adelita Grijalva got 62% of Democrats who voted in the primary, while a young popular challenger, Deja Fox, who is only 25 years old, got 21.5% of the votes and came out second. Grijalva will face Republican Daniel Gutierrez in the September 23 general election. The winner on that match will represent Arizona District 7 in the House of Representatives. District 7 has been held by Raul Grijalva since January of 2023. Although he had served Congress since 2003 in other districts that keeps changing because of redistricting. The current Congressional District 7 of Arizona is comprised of Tucson, Nogales, part of Yuma, and peripheral areas of Phoenix, Arizona. Young voters and observers call the Democratic primary as a three generations contest. Adelita, a Generation X, Daniel Hernandez Jr., a millennial, Arizona Assemblyman and former staff of Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, was shot in an assassination attempt and credited for saving her life. Deja Fox, a Generation Z, an activist and social media blogger, and campaign organizer for the Kamala Harris for President campaign in the 2020 primary and in the 2024 general election. We're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned.
We use headphones as a part of our everyday lives. Whether we're at work, getting exercise, meditating, in transit, studying, practicing, or relaxing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sway, the founder of Aircom. I would like to introduce the world's first wireless airflow audio earbuds. As a festival and a concert junkie, I really enjoy the live experience of being there and feeling the music. When we started developing Airflow, our goal was to reproduce that live experience using earbuds.
The problem with traditional headphones is that the speakers are located inside of the earpiece, literally giving you centimeters before the audio hits your eardrum.
What Aircom is doing, they're the first company to actually address the fact that there needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
Real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to the polls. After marathon debate and late-night vote in the U.S. Senate, the Senate approved the request of Donald Trump for $9 billion in spending cuts in this recession bill. A total of $9 billion was approved in a vote of 51 to 48 along party lines, will cut foreign aid to countries for disease containment and prevention, and countries experiencing disasters and calamities. But the one that really concerned most Americans was the budget cut of $1.1 billion to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, seriously affecting the operations of the National Public Radio that has millions of listeners nationwide. This bill will take away $9 billion of funds previously approved by Congress. Only 2 Republican senators who were at the first hour of Thursday's last week's, just right after midnight Wednesday voted against it. And they were Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine. None of the 48 Democrats voted in favor of the spending cuts. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting is a government agency that is charged under the law as the agency who will distribute grants to local stations like NPR, PBS, and many other rural TV and radio stations.
Florida Republican Congressman Corey Mills is being evicted in a lawsuit for failing to pay his rent in his luxury penthouse in Washington, D.C. Bozzuto Management Company, which is Corey Mills' landlord, alleged that the staunch MAGA congressman was behind on his payment since January, where he owes more than $85,000. Still in Washington, the controversy between MAGAs and the Trump administration over the public release of the Epstein files dominated the media last week. Epstein, the billionaire who was charged with sex trafficking of minors to engage in sex with wealthy men of influence, has been stopped by Trump. He promised to release the Epstein files, which the public are interested on the list of his friends who made the trips on his private jet to Florida, where underage women were also being transported to have sex with the rich and powerful friends of Jeffrey Epstein. In spite of Attorney General Pam Bondi bragging in right-wing media that she has on her desk boxes of the Epstein files and she will release them. But after Trump orders the file not to be released, Pam Bondi started walking back her statements, now saying there are nothing important in that file, that there is no list of men involved. A new assertion that the public, including bloggers in the MAGA movement, does not believe. Last week's tug of war between the Attorney General and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino became obvious, and Kash Patel went off guard of what was happening. Because Don Bongino knew there was a big file, but are now being withheld from the public, Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend of Epstein, has been convicted by a federal court for trafficking multiple underage girls for sex for Epstein's powerful and wealthy friends, is serving a 21-year sentence, but had been asking the Supreme Court to review her case. Last week, DOJ lawyers submitted their opposition to the High Court to deny Ghislaine Maxwell's petition for certiorari. That was after the High Court twice granted a motion for extension of time for DOJ to respond. The public believes a cover-up is in motion. In a polling last week, 63% disapprove of the way the Trump administration is handling the Epstein case.
Trump is continuing to reshape the judiciary on his will. On his first term in office, he appointed 2 Supreme Court justices and filled the federal appeals court and district courts with judges that he believes will be loyal to him and not necessarily uphold the law or legal precedents. One of those that proved loyal to him at every step of the challenges Trump faces is Judge Eileen Cannon of Florida, a federal judge. And now on his second term, a new round of opportunity to fill the court vacancies with conservative judges that he sees as loyal to him and ultra-conservative recommended by the Heritage Foundation. On his first year of the second term, the most controversial yet of his nominee to be judge is his former lawyer who had been sanctioned by a court with fines, Emil Bovee. Emil Bovee had represented Trump in the New York criminal trial case that resulted in a fine to the Trump Organization and in the classified document violation case before Judge Cannon. When Trump made Emil Bovee work at the White House, he reshaped the DOJ, altering the independence of the Justice Department, and now reshaping the judiciary for years to come. Opposition to Bovee from all over the country on his nomination by Trump for judgeship in the D.C. Court of Appeals includes 900 prosecutors around the country who submitted their opposition to the Senate on appointing Bovee to the bench. Former judges also expressed disapproval in the Senate Judiciary Committee last week. The Republican chair of the committee fast-tracked his nomination and called for a vote. Democratic committee members stormed out of the committee hearing in a show of opposition of not allowing more time to debate about the eligibility of the nominee. We are going to take a commercial break. Please stay with us.
We use headphones as a part of our everyday lives. Whether we're at work, getting exercise, meditating, in transit, studying, practicing, or relaxing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sway, the founder of Aircom. I would like to introduce the world's first wireless airflow audio earbuds. As a festival and a concert junkie, I really enjoy the live experience of being there and feeling the music. When we started developing Airflow, our goal was to reproduce that live experience using earbuds.
The problem with traditional headphones is that the speakers are located inside of the earpiece, literally giving you centimeters before the audio hits your eardrum.
What Aircom is doing, they're the first company to actually address the fact that there needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
It's real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, The magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to The Pulse. In our world news, the BBC reports that while visiting the UK, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will strengthen its anti-people smuggling legislation. According to 10 Downing Street, Germany will strengthen its regulations to combat gangs that smuggle migrants to the UK before the end of the year. The announcement coincides with a new deal between the UK and Germany that will be signed on Friedrich Merz during his first official visit to the UK as German Chancellor on Thursday. The deal covers topics including commerce, migration, and defense. The move, according to Downing Street, will facilitate German authorities investigations and actions against storage facilities and warehouses that smugglers use to hide small boats meant for unauthorized channel crossings to the UK. The next chancellor is now expected to pledge to amend the law before the end of the year, despite Berlin's December agreement to strengthen its laws under the previous government. Last year, a BBC investigation revealed the strong German ties to small boat crossings, with the nation emerging as a major hub for boat and engine storage. Chancellor Merz pledged to amend German law to cut off the supply lines of the hazardous ships that transport illegal migrants across the channel is greatly appreciated. Sir Keir stated, "The UK established a new pilot returns program with France during President Emmanuel Macron's state visit 1 week prior to the German agreement."
In a report from Reuters, developing countries are pressuring Brazil to address the COP30 hotel expenses. Even though its listings still fall short of the national's own affirmative projections, Brazil reassured concerned governments on Wednesday that it has set aside enough hotel rooms to accommodate the tens of thousands of people who will be crammed into rainforest city of Belém for the United Nations Climate Summit in November. Brazil's Special Secretary for the summit, known as the COP30, Walter Correa, outlined a strategy to give developing and island nations the need to top priority. At a conference in Bonn, Germany, representatives of these countries expressed outrage that Belém exorbitant lodging costs might prevent them from attending the COP30 summit. We promise that everyone can attend at reasonable cost, he stated. We can't leave small countries that most suffer with the issues related to climate change, out of this thing. It would be absolutely unthinkable. After the climate summit was hosted in nations that did not allow public protests for 3 years, environmental activists from all around the world had been eagerly awaiting Brazil's time to host that event. In order to draw attention to the world's vanishing rainforest, Brazil selected Belém for the climate talks. However, civil society organizations had been warning for months that the Amazon city shortage of lodging would put many people in a disadvantage. We are out of time for this edition. Please join us again next week here at The Pulse. I'm Sam Buban. Thank you for watching.
And I'm Joe Boban. God bless your week.